guys? It's Phil the MMA Dude back with the Split Decision Podcast, episode number 106, here with my always brilliant and beautiful co-host, the Fight Geek. Fight Geek, how you doing this week, man?
Doing excellent. Happy to be back talking fights with you. Conor McGregor fight week. This used to be a big deal. You still excited?
I'm excited. I am excited, but, kind of going off of that. Yeah? Are you excited?
I was just going to say, seems a little flat to me considering it's a trilogy and a Conor McGregor fight week, but maybe that's because it's still early. Hopefully it picks up some steam.
I completely agree with you. I think it's because it's early. I think. But we'll see as the week goes on. Anyways, here's my opening question for you. It's related to 264. So, Fight Geek, as you probably saw on social media, Colby Covington today released a video of Dustin Poirier sparring what Colby claims is an amateur fighter, and Dustin basically knocks the guy down pretty brutally, and then he screams, "and new," and walks away. People are very divided on this, whether this is, a big deal. Colby's saying that he's a bully to an amateur. Others saying this is what happens at, elite gyms. Where do you stand on it?
Well, first of all, 2 hours ago, Dustin Poirier tweeted that guy has 20 pro fights. So yep. I think that will add some clarity, but
I didn't want to mention that at first, but you are absolutely correct.
So, and again, I'm not sure, the exact, status quo on wearing headgear and whatnot. I don't know if it's a choice that you make when sparring, but I doubt anyone forced that guy to get in there with Dustin Poirier training for a title fight without headgear. I tend to believe that was his choice.
There's no chance in hell. There's no chance.
Yeah. So I believe that was his choice, which is kind of my first point. So he made a choice to step into a cage with a guy who's known for his hands without headgear. So that's kind of my first point. Second point is, the combination that actually lands is probably a combination that Dustin Poirier has been drilling for the actual fight. So people are all up in arms about Dustin's intent and how he treated a so-called amateur. But I would take it a step back and be like, this could have almost been like, subconsciously throwing the punch. This is stuff that he drills. And if you look at the technique on the way he hits the guy leaves his left arm down and he hits him with a right counter, perfect technique. So I don't think that, I think this was a technique move that's been drilled a million times. Dustin Poirier saw a target in practice and maybe had a little more impact than was necessary. But when you're drilling and training at the highest level with the most dangerous guys in the world, you may get a 7 out of 10 of his punching power, 8 out of 10 of his punching power. Like you said, the guy did not go unconscious, and
Dustin was not going 100%. It's worth me saying that. People seem to be insinuating Dustin was going 100. No, he wasn't. No, that was 70 or 80%.
And he immediately backs off, gives him the whole cage and extended time. And then I know a lot of people have, some mixed feelings on him screaming and new. But,
he's prepping for a title fight.
This is part of the visualization techniques that Conor used to get praised for. This is why guys go to the octagon and walk around in it and mimic their intros when no one's there. He is trying to manifest his own destiny by that kind of stuff. And if you don't understand that, then I guess that's your battle to fight in life.
Yeah, just real quick, I completely
had absolutely no problem with anything that I saw on there. My only question is does Colby Covington want to fight Dustin Poirier? I don't understand what his angle is.
Look, man, have we known Colby Covington's angle for years? He's behaved like an idiot for years.
I know, but he keeps going out of his way to say that Dustin Poirier is not a good guy. Does he want to fight Dustin Poirier, or is he just so jealous of the public persona that Dustin Poirier has created that, he lives rent-free in his head all the time? I don't understand the obsession with Dustin Poirier.
If I was forced to explain what was going through Colby Covington's mind most of the time, I would be in big trouble.
But doesn't it seem bizarre to continually keep kind of picking
course it's bizarre, but most of what Colby says is bizarre.
Do you think this is all posturing? So let's say Dustin were to lose to Conor, maybe he'd go up and have a grudge match at 170 with Colby. I mean, do you think he's laying the groundwork for something like that, or do you just think that's way too advanced for Colby?
No, I think it's absolutely. I mean, what do you want me to say? No, Colby's too honorable for that? Like, pff, are we kidding? Of course,
No, I mean,
of course, Colby's
smart
probably
enough
thinking
to
that.
be playing that many steps ahead.
Oh, I mean, look, I don't know why Colby does a lot of the things he does. I mean,
I
for
will
sure.
tell you one thing. When I sit down and think about Dustin Poirier versus Colby Covington at 170, it's a very exciting stylistic matchup. So if Colby wants that fight, and if that's what he's actually angling for, because I don't really see any other angle other than maybe he's just jealous that he got dismissed from ATT and he's just going to go at everyone over there.
He's jealous. I think you've got it.
100% jealous that he was asked to leave for all the trouble he made, you know?
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's embarrassing is, like, he can't seem to really find that, is it a shtick, is it not a shtick type deal? You know, he's kind of in the middle of it. Like, people still don't know all the time, you know,
right,
exactly what Colby's talking about or what he's doing. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of jealousy here. If he's not angling for a fight with Poirier, I really don't understand why he keeps barking about him. He has plenty to bark about in his own division. And I absolutely feel like Dustin Poirier did nothing wrong in training for a title fight there. And I actually think he was quite, I think it was pretty tame compared to some of the stuff we've seen. As a self-proclaimed
I've seen worse. It's Chicago Muay Thai. And if you guys were saying, wait, what the hell is Chicago Muay Thai? You're correct. That's not even a high-level MMA gym. I'm not saying it is, and I've seen worse. So it's crazy.
Yeah, and again, guys go much harder than that. I've seen Jason Jackson and Luke Rockhold sparring
so much
extremely hard. I've seen, Wanderlei Silva sparring crazy hard. I mean, TJ Dillashaw is notorious.
Well, Dillashaw is known for ending careers in sparring.
But you have to understand, I know it's easy to sit back here and criticize the way guys train and their mentalities, though, but we're not the ones who are preparing to fight other trained killers.
No, absolutely. I'm not, and that's why I'm not criticizing Dustin one bit on this.
No, TJ gets the criticism, and it may be, warranted, but could TJ Dillashaw be the same type of, fighter and have the same level of success if he's not that guy in preparation? I don't know. So it comes with the territory sometimes, and that is for the sparring partners of these gentlemen to make that determination. Can you trust this guy? Are you there for the right reasons? Do you feel comfortable with your own abilities? Dustin Poirier's there in a paid camp. He's just fighting whoever they set in there with.
Right, and you already pretty much said this, but it bears repeating one last time. Then we're going to move on to the actual picks, guys. We're about to move on to the actual picks, but it bears repeating. Dustin would not get into the cage with a total amateur preparing for the biggest fight of his life, okay? He wouldn't do it. You know why? Because amateurs don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to hurt you, and they also don't know how to hold back. So you wouldn't
they're also
do
not
it.
going to teach you anything and get
Right.
you better, which is what Poirier's
So
doing.
the whole
in that
thing
moment.
didn't add up from the jump. And then I learned that the guy's got a bunch of fights, and I say, of course he does.
To me, it's the technique and the sequence in which it happens. It's 100% reactionary and pure drilling of technique, in my opinion. I believe that
Even if he was on the offense, would that really be so
true,
bad?
But I believe that Dustin Poirier's thrown that quick combination 10 million times in his life, and he saw it in practice, training, sparring, and threw it again. I don't think there's much more to it.
Absolutely. Okay, so time to move on. We're going to start with the main event and move down, but we got to cover our picks and preview for Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor 3 Fight Geek. Start us off. Who wins and how?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have a much more in-depth breakdown, but, I don't see how Conor could have made that many adjustments in this short amount of time. Conor will always have, his one-shot puncher's chance, and if he comes in, super sharp, it's going to be an extremely close fight, as it was in portions of the first or the second one. But, at this point, it's just too hard for me to pick against the durability, the cardio, and the experience of Dustin Poirier. He really has been there, done that at this point. So, yeah, I'm taking Dustin Poirier via split decision in a back and forth war that I believe he will have the majority of the he'll have the majority of the success, and I think he'll really have success late in the fight.
Hold on, now this is fascinating to me. You think if it's so close that it goes to a split decision that the judges will side against McGregor?
Well, I think it'll be a split decision because it's McGregor, if you get what I'm saying. I think Poirier will beat him. I think Poirier will beat him unanimously, but I'm sure Conor will steal rounds, no doubt.
Got it. Okay, fascinating. So yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you just said. I think it's a very interesting trilogy fight. I think McGregor has shown his hand more than he thinks he has in the last few days by saying things like, first one to shoot is a dusty bitch. Okay, we get it, Conor. You're extremely nervous about Dustin shooting on you, and now he definitely will. All right, thanks for making that clear. I wish he would just not give stuff away.
Dustin Poirier is going to shoot on him just to shoot. Dustin Poirier is going to mix in a well-rounded game.
But can you imagine Dustin not shooting after Conor says that?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
If I was Conor's coaches, I would say, dude, don't say a thing about it. You're just going to make him shoot for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe Conor's, playing some reverse psychology here and setting up some knee or something.
He said the same thing about to Cowboy before the Cowboy fight.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense because Cowboy's not a good wrestler anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting. But
Anyway, I got to make my pick. All right,
go ahead.
So I see Conor honestly doing better. And he did fine in the first fight, in the second fight, excuse me. He did fine. He won.
Except for not understanding leg kicks.
But he won the first round, is what I'm saying. He did.
But it was close. Yeah,
but he won the first.
He's a first-round merchant. He always wins the first
Absolutely.
round, doesn't he?
Absolutely. I think it's going to look shockingly similar to the second fight, but I do think Conor's going to show a little bit more grit. He's going to show enough grit to make it to the third round where he will get TKO'd by Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, see, I don't see that because if you watch Dustin's fights, Dustin has a tendency to wane in the late second, third round.
But Conor doesn't? Conor shows a lot of strength?
Well, Conor does too, but I feel like Conor will have big success in 1, Dustin success in 2, Conor will come back in 3, and then Dustin will really win 4 and 5. So maybe 3-2 Dustin, with Conor having a chance to win 1 and 3, in my opinion.
Okay, very fair. I do think so. You don't think Dustin's going to put Conor away this time?
Well, no, because this is the crossroads fight for the Conor McGregor legacy. I mean, Conor has to put all the chips on the table. If Conor McGregor gets stopped in this fight, the mystique is truly long gone.
I think he gets stopped in the third round, people. I'm telling you.
I think he holds on to a decision lost and saves some credibility, because if he gets stopped again, that is detrimental.
And you're right that it would save some credibility if he survives to the cards. That's true. 100%.
100%. Yeah. I'm sure if it's 1-1 with a split decision Dustin's way, they could probably do a fourth fight someday and still have this going on.
What if Dustin puts him away in the third or fourth?
If Dustin stops Conor McGregor, what do you mean? If the Conor McGregor, as we know him, whatever semblance of his legacy he's holding on to that era will be over. It will be the new, older generation Conor McGregor who's no longer elite. I think that is kind of what the narrative will be.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so really quick before we move on, there's just so much to discuss with this fight, guys. Sorry. Okay, so if Poirier wins, I think we all agree that it's going to be Poirier versus Oliveira for the lightweight.
Well, we've got all kinds of questions, I think, about if who so-and-so wins. So I don't want to get too
all right, we'll move on. We'll move on. Okay.
But I do want to say one thing. If Conor loses, he clearly still has the Nate Diaz trilogy and the Jorge Masvidal BMF at 170 to go have money fights. So
he's not taking that Masvidal fight. There ain't no way in
well,
hell.
if he loses to Dustin Poirier and has absolutely no path to 155-pound title, he's going to have to start fighting celebrity 170-pound matches.
Yeah, he's going to box Jake Paul. I hope I'm wrong, so don't get mad at me, people.
Oh,
I hope I'm wrong. Don't get mad at me, people. Don't get mad at me.
Right. That is what he'll.
Don't get mad at me, people. It wasn't me.
All right, let's keep it moving.
All right, Gilbert,
because this is a good one.
Gilbert Burns versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I'm going to be honest, Fight Geek. I'm going to be honest. I'm not being some hipster. I am more excited by this fight than I am by Poirier McGregor 3. I said it. There. I said it.
I think
this is a better fight.
I'm not more excited, but I'm more intrigued. I think this matchup
so you're
is
more excited.
Intriguing.
That means the same thing.
No, it doesn't, because Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier are the big dogs. So I mean, that is.
Well, Wonderboy and Burns ain't exactly losers.
No, they're not losers, but I mean, stylistically, I feel like this is more intriguing. You have the power punching, black belt in jiu-jitsu versus the karate master. This truly is like a mixed martial arts fight. So I love that.
Can't wait.
I'm going to go ahead and just blurt out my answer. I'm going to take Stephen Wonderboy Thompson via unanimous decision. I think he'll stay a distance. His takedown defense will be enough, and he is just so tricky on the feet. I think that he will be able to bide his time and win a point fighting decision versus Gilbert Burns.
Wonderboy is so tricky. I totally agree. What a karate master he is. Unfortunately, fortunately, I should say, because I'm a Gilbert Burns fan, I think he's going to lose to Gilbert Burns by unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1, baby.
Wow, really? See, I see this a lot. Gilbert Burns is an explosive striker, kind of like Jeff Neal. Obviously doesn't have
he's going to steal around by knocking Wonderboy down. I'll tell you that.
But Wonderboy has a way with his footwork and his distance control to never let those guys land anything substantial. So if Jeff Neal and Vicente Luque aren't landing substantial, I have a good feeling Burns is not going to either. So,
Burns is a better fighter than Jeff Neal. Come on.
He's not a better striker than Jeff Neal. He's not a better striker than Vicente Luque. He's not a better striker than Jorge Masvidal. All of those guys Stephen Thompson beat. And Stephen Thompson, in my opinion, beat Darren Till, who's probably a better striker than Gilbert Burns as well.
I just can't wait, honestly, man, because, I mean, what you're saying isn't wrong, but Burns has the power.
Well, I think that's where the intrigue comes. We just saw Stephen Thompson a few years ago get knocked out by Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, exactly. If Anthony Pettis can do it.
If Gilbert Burns gets a clean shot, he can obviously start Stephen Thompson. But my point is, Stephen Thompson, since getting starched by Anthony Pettis, hasn't been touched. He's been so good with his footwork and his distance control. So I think that will be obviously his biggest concern here, other than the jiu-jitsu.
By the way, what a big fight for both men, huh? Feels like a lot's on the line.
Gilbert Burns, in my opinion, if he could get it to the ground, that's where he would have an enormous advantage. But we haven't seen Gilbert at 170 really implement any form of jiu-jitsu. It's been mostly striking.
Let me ask you this. If Wonderboy gets the knockout, I personally think he's getting a title shot. If Burns gets the knockout, does he get a title shot?
No, because he was just knocked out by the title holder 2 fights ago. So,
but it wasn't a bad fight. It really wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But Burns is going to have to win another one after this.
I agree with you. I think you're right. I think you're right.
I think Burns versus Leon Edwards. If they're going to force Leon Edwards to have another fight, would make sense if Burns wins.
Burns versus Covington makes sense too.
Yeah, that does make sense. But I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of even though that has ATT ties.
Yeah, okay, all right.
A lot of backstory.
All right, moving on. Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy is the third to last fight.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting also. Both guys are going to come in, hit super hard. Greg Hardy has horrible cardio, so for that reason, I'm going to take Tai Tuivasa via second-round TKO. I think he'll outlast Greg Hardy. Hardy will get tired, and Tui will finish him off.
Dude, I hope you're right. I'm rooting for Tui big time. I've got Greg Hardy by late first round TKO.
No way.
Dude, I hope I'm wrong. I don't like Greg.
He's way too durable to get knocked out by Greg Hardy.
Greg Hardy punches like a truck and a half. What are you talking about?
Greg Hardy's best win is Maurice Green.
That's true.
So,
But he went 5-5s with Volkov.
yeah, he did go 5-5s with Volkov.
I was impressed by that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, trying to find something relatively
Look, I hate Greg Hardy. Just for the record, I hate Greg Hardy.
Well, Tai Tuivasa is a real UFC heavyweight.
No, I hope Hardy
still
loses. I hope Hardy loses. I want to make that very clear.
I'm taking Tai Tuivasa. I feel pretty confident about that here. All right, let's keep it moving to Irene Aldana versus Yana Kunitskaya. This is interesting. Who do you got?
Yeah, this is a very interesting fight, right? I mean, yeah. I really want Yana to win, but I think Irene Aldana is going to win by unanimous decision.
Yep, I got Irene Aldana by unanimous decision as well. I think she's going to be much quicker with her hands and better on the feet. If Yana can't get it to the clinch and hold it there, I think she's in trouble. So I'm taking Irene Aldana via, we'll say split decision there.
All right, okay. We're a top ranked podcast in terms of listen, so we can't go through the whole card, but we can definitely go through more.
Yes, we can. There's no other card, so let's just keep going until we get boring.
Okay, all right. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Chris Matinho. I've got Sugar Sean by second round knockout.
Sugar Sean by first round knockout. This is actually like, this.
I know it's a joke fight for him.
Spoon-fed a highlight reel win right here. So.
I know.
If Sean O'Malley loses here, that would be a huge ouch. All right.
Max Griffin versus Carlos Condit.
I like this fight. I'm taking Max Griffin just based on a little bit of youth and athleticism by unanimous decision.
I'm taking Max Griffin by third round TKO.
Awesome, and that brings us to what I would consider the surefire fight of the night, Nico Price versus Michel Pereira.
Bro, this fight, how has this not happened yet? These two are literally doppelgangers. Are they not?
Wild. This is the perfect prelim fight.
They're the same person.
Yeah. Yes, they are very, except Nico has never done a flip in an actual fight.
Oh, well, if he hears this, he's going to do it next time, that's for sure.
So who do you got?
I got, ready? Michel Pereira versus via split decision.
I'm taking Nico Price via submission.
Whoa!
I think it'll be some wild exchanges, and I think Nico will find something exotic, let's say.
Okay, all right, next fight. 8-1 Ryan Hall versus 10-0 Ilya Topuria.
I can't believe you didn't want to break down some of these fights. This fight's amazing.
I did. We've got sponsors to pay. They pay us, right? Never mind.
Yeah.
I was trying to make something there.
Ryan Hall is probably the number one enigma in the whole UFC. He fights less than once a year, I believe, but he is undefeated in the UFC with a very unique style. With that being said, Topuria is one of the best prospects on the roster. Hits incredibly hard, has a black belt. I'm taking Ilya Topuria here via stoppage.
Woo! I'm taking Ryan Hall by first round submission.
Ooh, interesting. Don't see that happening, but...
No, I agree with you on one thing. I think it's going to be a race between can Ilya knock out Ryan or can Ryan get the sub?
But Ilya's from Georgia.
He's a black belt. I know Ilya's a black belt.
He's a black belt.
I know.
Those Georgian guys can wrestle like Merab. I mean, he's going to be hard to take down for an unathletic Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall is going to have to.
Ryan doesn't need to take you down because he'll just He'll roll into an inverse submission.
I think Topuria is going to be athletic and strong enough to pull out of that stuff and keep it standing. So, all right, we can run through these last few pretty quickly. Duplessis versus Trevin Giles. You got a pick?
I'll always remember Trevin Giles for having one of the coolest comebacks in UFC history, even though it eventually didn't, I believe it didn't count. Although I don't see no contest on his records. Maybe I'm crazy. But I've got Trevin Giles by decision.
I've got Trevin Giles via TKO.
Am I crazy? Is he not the guy who had the incredible comeback?
Well, that's very vague. There's been a lot of incredible comebacks.
Okay, let's just keep it moving. Jennifer Maia versus Jessica Ai.
These two are like mirror images of each other, I feel like. This should be a good, back and forth stand-up war. I'm taking Jennifer Maia. I think she does everything I does, but a little better.
Totally agree. Maia's going to win this. She's way better on the ground.
That's true.
Okay. Omari Akhmedov versus Brad Tavares. Remember Brad Tavares? Man, what happened to him? He's
been out for a long time.
Dude, remember when he fought Adesanya at the TUF finale and everyone was favoring him? Feels like a million years ago.
Yes, it does. He's still 18-6 though, so an impressive record. Been around a long time, but he's going against a guy who's just a hammer in Akhmedov. I'm taking Akhmedov here by split decision. It'll be a sloppy back and forth war.
I've got Akhmedov via unanimous decision.
All right, do you want to cover the last two? Cause
we may as well. Zaga Zumagulov, 13-5 versus Jerome Rivera, 10-5. Who you got?
Zamagulov.
I got Zamagulov as well. And then finally, a 185 bout. Yao Zheng Hu, 3-2 versus Alen Amadovsky, 8-2. I've got Amadovsky via decision.
Same here, going with Amadovsky. So.
All right. Okay.
I will say one thing, though. I am still mourning the loss of the Kevin Lee-Sean Brady fight. That was going to be awesome.
Listen, I'm glad you mentioned that. Let me say something. I love Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee, he needs new managers, okay? He's got to fire his representation because they are making him RDA without being RDA. They are putting him in the toughest fights possible, and I'm so sick of it, dude.
With absolutely no upside. What if he beats
Zero upside! Zero upside! None! All he does is take hell fights. And I'm like, Kevin, I love you, bro. Why are you doing this to me?
It is pretty bad. It's like, I think I was mentioning...
Like, he knocked out Gregor Gillespie. They're like, oh, sweet, your reward is fighting Charles Oliveira. Great! What?
Hey, well, if he would have won that, he would have been in a great spot.
Yeah, nah. He's got to fire his manager. His manager ain't looking out for him like come on. Am I crazy?
No, I agree.
Yeah, I really, really hate how Kevin Lee decides to take fights. I hate it. I'm a big Kevin Lee stan, guys. I admit it, but I hate it. I hate that matchup. Oh my God. Give me the name of his opponent again. I'm drawing Sean Brady.
Yes.
Sean Brady is such a killer, and he doesn't even have a name. That's the definition of the fight you do not take.
Exactly.
It's like, what happens if Kevin wins? No one's going to really care. But that was a killer.
True.
What's going on here?
Very, very true.
Hey, this is a podcast. What are you doing here? Are you listening to that Phoenix Suns game? Guys, he's listening to the Phoenix Suns game.
Sorry to sidetrack your Sean Brady rant, but I needed to keep my eye on something in the corner.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it moving. Are we ready to move on to listener questions?
Yep. Okay, so we'll be right back, folks, and then we'll be back with listener questions and more. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude letting you know that this episode of the Split Decision Podcast is brought to you by TotalAggressionClothing.com. Visit www.TotalAggressionClothing.com and use the promo code 46210 to receive a special Split Podcast discount on all Total Aggression hats, shirts, hoodies, and more. Again, that's www.TotalAggressionClothing.com with promo code 46210. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude back with the Split Decision Podcast, episode number 106. Back with my favorite section of all, and that is... Thank you.
All right. Looks like we got some good ones tonight. Let's get into it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so our first question comes from our man, Zan Bando. That's at Zan Bando 99. He will be at 264, guys, covering, so give him a follow. He says, great to see you both back. I missed my fix. Anyway, I've got 2 questions this week. 1, where does UFC 264 rank in terms of all-time biggest MMA pay-per-views ever? 2, what's next for Conor McGregor if he loses again? Hashtag AskSplitPod. Wow, great questions. Number 1, where does 264 rank in terms of all-time biggest MMA pay-per-views, Fight Geek? Why don't you start us off?
Well, I'm looking at the official list of them right now, so I'm going to estimate about where I think it falls. I think it falls around 1.7 million, making it 1, 2, 3, 4, about the 5th best pay-per-view of all time.
Okay, wow. So you have it just barely doing better than the rematch, than Poirier-McGregor 2. Because that was 1.6. Okay.
It was, and I think there was, again, I don't know if it's just me, but this is feeling like a flat beginning of the week. It doesn't feel like a Conor McGregor week, let alone a trilogy week. So I don't know if it's like midsummer and everybody's still kind of doing their own thing or what, but I don't see it beating 2 million. I don't think Conor has that kind of shine anymore worldwide, and Dustin Poirier is not that kind of a B-side.
Okay, very fair. Yeah, very fair. My thoughts on this are that you're mostly correct, honestly. I think McGregor isn't the draw he used to be, and I think on a similar note that Poirier isn't the draw that he necessarily needs to be. I just say needs to be in terms of, to get that pay-per-view, anywhere near the record, the UFC record of UFC 229, which is 2.4 million. So my prediction, Fikey, is that UFC 264 does 1.9 million.
Wow. Okay, so would that put it at like 3 or 4?
It would put it at it'd put it in second place for UFC events, not for pay-per-views, but for UFC.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, relative to UFC pay-per-view.
Yeah, it'd put it in second place behind 229 at 2.4.
So, I mean, if that actually happens, then maybe all hope isn't lost for Conor. Maybe as a title contender, but if Conor can, clear 1 million pay-per-view buys every single time he fights, even if he's on a 3 or 4 fight losing skid.
Oh, of course they're going to clear 1 million. Come on.
Well, he's still the best draw in the UFC, even on a losing streak, which is absurd.
So you're not going to give any credit to Dustin, though?
Well, not as a pay-per-view star, no.
Even after Poirier-McGregor 2, where Poirier won?
I mean, if his profile grew by 10%, he's not even worth 500,000 pay-per-view buys. So, no.
Okay. All right.
I mean, no disrespect. I think as a fighter, Dustin Poirier is all-time great. As a pay-per-view draw, I don't see him as that guy. Worldwide, there's no appeal for Dustin Poirier. I mean, he's an American, B-level star, in my opinion. So.
American B-level star. Woo! Shots fired.
Well, as far as an athlete goes, he's not headlining Gatorade commercials. He's not in the public eye. He's that second tier of like elite athlete who, people who follow the sport are well aware of. But, my mom's not going to know who Dustin Poirier is.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah, that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's definitely fair. Okay, so moving on. Do you have a question lined up?
No, I thought you feed me the questions in this segment.
Yeah, I know. That's what you always think. Anyways, what's next for Conor McGregor if he loses again, says Zan?
Well, I just said I really heavily think that Conor on a losing streak fighting Diaz on a losing streak makes a ton of sense. And if he wants something with a little more buzz, Masvidal getting knocked out,
he
with
ain't
no
fighting
road back
Masvidal.
to the title. Those are the 2 fights for him.
I agree, but he's going to take Nate Diaz 3. He ain't fighting.
Maybe he will. But if he beats Nate Diaz in that trilogy, where does that lead him? That leads him right back to Jorge Masvidal for the BMF also. So I believe there's all a little love triangle between Conor, Diaz, and Jorge. Depending on how this weekend plays out, we'll see some combination of those guys fighting each other in the future, in my opinion.
Very fair, very fair. Okay, so this question comes from one of our good friends of the podcast, certainly a good friend of mine. This is at Let Me Live Bruh, aka Little Dick Till. Excuse my language, Mom. Sorry about that.
What'd you call me?
No, what do you mean? I was calling her. I mean, that's her name. That's her name. I don't even mean to say it. Okay, but it's at Let Me Live Bruh. She's great. She's the best. And she says, is anyone else hyperventilating or just me? Also, take a guess. Who do you guys think is going to take fight of the night? Price versus Pajeda is a worthy contender, in my opinion. So what do we think? Who wins fight of the night?
That's what I picked as my fight of the night, but I will say sleeper for fight of the night, Hardy versus Tuivasa could be a sloppy back and forth.
True. It's true.
Heavyweight fight where someone gets knocked out, so I would say that could be a sleeper.
Agreed and agreed. I think Pajeda versus Price is the fight of the night, and then I agree with you on the sleeper. And my third choice would be, frankly, ready? My third choice is actually Poirier versus McGregor 3.
Yeah, that definitely has the potential to be back and forth.
As does Burns Wonderboy, now that I really think about it, though.
I think that'll be more tactical. I don't think that'll be a lot of action because Wonderboy just doesn't, his fights just don't go that way. They turn into chess matches 99% of the time.
Absolutely. Okay, so this question comes from my man at TooComfy69. He says, 1, who should Stipe fight next? 2, if Dustin beats Conor and wins the title, is he the second greatest lightweight of all time? #AskSplitPod. Okay, let's start off with question 1. Who should Stipe fight next?
Don Jones or Curtis Blades?
Agreed. Hard to disagree with any of that. I do think that, obviously we have this, I was going to talk about it earlier, this joke interim title fight headlining 265 of Ciryl Gane versus Derek Lewis. So winner of that will fight Ngannou. Should winner of that fight Stipe? Arguably yes, but maybe a lot.
You could throw Jairzinho in there somewhere, maybe too.
Yeah, somewhere. He didn't last too long against Francis.
Stipe deserves that kind of fight, and then if that doesn't work, I think Curtis Blades versus Stipe is a fight versus 2 top 5 heavyweights. Perfect fight.
I agree. Will Stipe agree? I don't know if he will.
I feel like Stipe would be comfortable in that fight. He's a wrestler by craft, and then, he would be. We've seen people put hands, specifically Francis, on Blades before, so he would have a boxing advantage, a speed advantage, an experience advantage. All he'd have to do is stuff a few takedowns.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if Dustin beats Conor and wins the title, is he the second greatest lightweight of all time?
That's a tough one, and you could really break that down with a fine-tooth comb, but no, he's not. Without a title reign, it's really hard to put him in front of guys like BJ Penn, Frankie Edgar, even though
BJ kind of destroyed his legacy, if we're being totally honest.
But if you go, he may have destroyed his resume post-title run, but if you go back and pay attention to who BJ Penn was in real time of earning the lightweight title and then defending it, he was destroying people.
I remember.
He was the greatest fighter that had ever lived at that point. So
sure.
His title defenses versus, he destroyed Joe Stevenson, who obviously, the strength of schedule is where you can really start kind of picking these guys apart, because I believe that Dustin Poirier has the greatest strength of schedule of any lightweight to ever live. Maybe Eddie.
Well, I believe that's why some are saying, is he the...
Well, 100%, but he doesn't have a title or a title defense. You have guys with 3, 4, 5 title defenses, so no.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, what is the lightweight limit? Is it 4 defenses?
You mean what is the record?
Yes. Sorry.
The record is 3 title defenses, and it's tied by Khabib Nurmagomedov, Frankie Edgar, BJ Penn, and Benson Henderson.
Yeah.
Which is shocking when you say that out loud, isn't it?
It's so hard because when we get into these best conversations, there's always 2 bests. There's the best resume, the best accomplishments, and then there's who's the best on their single night. Do I think, Dustin Poirier on his all-time greatest night can beat Frankie Edgar on his all-time greatest night? Probably. Do I think he can beat, Benson Henderson on his best night? Probably. Do I think Dustin Poirier can beat BJ Penn on his best night? That gets a little trickier.
I was going to say, can he?
So I think the only guys that you can't be sure that DP could beat on his best night is Khabib and BJ Penn. So there's a couple ways to break that down. I'd say he's more like the fourth or fifth, maybe sixth best lightweight of all time.
Ooh, even to me, that sounds harsh. I mean, I can see why the conversation's interesting, right? Because that sounds harsh. How do you take someone
like Eddie Alvarez, who has a belt in 3 or 4 different promotions, though?
I mean, you're not wrong. At the same time, Eddie was humiliated against McGregor. I mean, just humiliated.
I know, but you can't judge. So was Jose Aldo, but that, in my opinion,
but different weight class. Different weight class.
Right. Well, and to be clear to anyone who isn't familiar, can we all agree that 145-pound McGregor was the special McGregor?
Yeah, I mean, he looked pretty damn special against Alvarez at 205, to be honest.
Yeah, but even leading up to that fight, Conor and his team were, boasting that Eddie Alvarez was the tailor-made type opponent for Conor McGregor. So when they say styles make fights, that was stylistically as good as it could have got for Conor, let's say.
Yeah, I think that...
he was fighting a shorter guy who likes to trade punches and,
Well, Eddie, what do you mean? Eddie's a wrestler. Eddie's a wrestler. That's not entirely true.
Well, he is a wrestler, but, at that stage in his career, Eddie wasn't implementing a lot of wrestling. He had just beat RDA with punches. He had a whole standing fight with Cerrone. So, yeah, I mean, he was trying to fight on his feet.
True. Okay. Are we ready for the next question?
Let's go.
All right, this is from Eduardo at Landa Crew. Love Eduardo. Guys, give him a follow at Landa Crew. He says, if you were in Vegas for the fight, how would your ideal weekend go? #AskSplitPod. Oh, what a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely go check out that new Raider Stadium, Allegiant, eat in the restaurant.
Of course you would. Fight Geek's such a diehard Raiders fan.
That would be the highlight of my weekend, checking out the Raiders facilities. So anything around that, Friday night, I'd take the tour of the Raiders Stadium, and then, obviously fight day is fight day. And then, let's say, lounging by the pool on Sunday, getting my vitamin D to get rid of my hangover. Sounds like a nice encompassing of the video, or the weekend, sorry.
That sounds good to me. I am a humongous fan of vitamin D in the sun. That's why I moved back to California. Literally, I'm pretty sure I have that. What's the word for it when you're depressed by the lack of sunlight? There's like a scientific word.
I think they just call that depression.
Okay. Oh, we're not making light of depression, everyone, by the way.
No, we're just making light of Phil.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. That cleared it up. That cleared it up for everyone. Okay, moving on. So we got a question from our man, Juice at Friendly Sparring Podcast. That's at Friendly Spar Pod. He says, if Wonder Boy beats Gilbert Burns, who should he call out? Same question if Gilbert wins. #AskSplitPod. I'll go first. If Wonder Boy wins, he needs to call out Kamaru. Absolutely.
100%. And if Gilbert wins,
call out Leon.
I like your idea. He's got to call out Colby.
Colby or Leon, I say.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. But Colby would be punching, again, there's no heat there. If Gilbert Burns were to knock out Wonder Boy and get on, the mic and say he's tired of Colby, trashing his team and the Brazilian comments from the past, there could be some heat there and make it interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, man, the way I look at it, I just want to make sure that, you know me. Look, I love Gilbert, guys. You know that. He gave me a 30-minute exclusive interview a few episodes ago, or 30 episodes, whatever. But I just think that if Gilbert is able to get the stoppage, he should absolutely call out Colby or Leon, saying, you've got to go through me to get the next title shot. And then if he wins against either Colby or Leon, he's right back with the rematch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, next question. This is, oh wait, we already asked friendly sparring pods. Oh, this is from our main man, Jalen Ware. Shout out to Jalen Ware, one of our best Split Podcast OGs with some of the best questions. That's at strive2, the number 2, B_GR8. Should an impressive win over Aldana grant Yana a title shot? Or would she need to avenge that bad Aspen Lad loss or go through Durandamy next? Hashtag AskSplitPod. I'll just start off. Yeah, Jalen, I think she'd need to do something else. I think she'd either need to avenge the Aspen Lad loss or go through Durandamy.
Yeah, I disagree. I think
Really?
I think if she wins another one, she'll be on a 3-fight winning streak. She beat Caitlin Vieira in her last fight. Vieira's very good, so that's a very credible win. If she were to win this fight, it's a credible win. And we haven't seen anything interesting for Valentina really anyway, so it would be between Yana and I'm drawing a blank on the other
Aspen
fighter.
Lad.
No, Aspen Lad. No, but who's the girl?
Durandamy?
No, the girl who's on a 4-fight winning streak in the division. She just fought. I can't
damn
think
it! Don't
her.
put me on the spot with this dumb shit.
Sorry, but you know who she is. Come on. Anyways, I think
Just
she
tell
would be
me.
right
Just give me more info. I'm getting annoyed now.
Let me just look up.
It was from the last event. Like, give me some.
Yeah, I can't believe I can't think of her name right now. I'm just drawing.
Everyone is angrily shouting the name. I can already tell.
They all know.
They're so annoyed. They're like, you idiots. Wait, don't say Julia Avila.
Lauren Murphy.
Oh, of course, dude.
Yes.
Dude.
So maybe Lauren.
Yeah, the reason
Murphy
I didn't know that is because obviously Lauren Murphy has no check.
No, I know, but
that's
Lauren
why I
Murphy's
didn't think of her, because she's as good as dead.
But Yana Kunitskaya is not.
I mean, for some reason, I have more respect for that matchup than I do Lauren Murphy's.
I would pick Lauren Murphy straight up for Yana Kunitskaya.
Dude, Lauren is literally going to be, like, murdered by Valentina.
So is Yana. I don't understand your point here.
I mean, everyone's going to be murdered by Valentina. Let's be honest. So you saw what she did to... Jessica Andrade was like, yeah, I'm an ex-champ. I'm about to show her a new game. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, we've seen with Jessica Andrade multiple times that she doesn't exactly
No, but Valentina went out of her way to literally end her.
All right, let's keep it moving. Did we answer that one?
Oh my gosh, Valentina versus Jessica. Ugh, I'm cringing. Sorry, I just remember that. Okay, this one's from my man, Matt at GoGo Safa. That's at GoGo Safa MMA. Love this dude. He says, greetings and salutations, Phil and Mr. Fight Geek. Always a pleasure to be a part of the show. Do you think UFC 264 will be the best card for 2021, especially if Conor wins? At this moment, Justin Gaethje's next fight is quite uncertain. Will we see him fight this year? Hashtag AskSplitPod. So 2 questions there.
Yes.
Is this the best card? I'm immediately going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well. We've already had some unbelievable cards this year, top to bottom. So I think it'll be a good card. Will it be the best card? No, I don't think so. And at this moment, will we see him fight again, Gaethje, this year? I think we will.
Right. I just wonder if Conor wins, will we see him fight again this year? I'm not as sure.
He's talking about Justin Gaethje, though, not Conor.
Oh, yeah, I guess. So
right. I would say if Dustin Poirier were to lose, that would set up a perfect fight with Justin Gaethje before the end of the year. Maybe December, Gaethje versus Poirier 2, if Poirier were to lose to Conor.
Yeah. If Conor wins, what do you think happens? Because I think they're going to make McGregor Usman.
No, if Conor wins this fight, it's going to be Conor versus Charles Oliveira 1,000%.
You think so?
I
I
know
wonder,
so.
man.
It's not even thinking. I know so. You can book it. If Conor McGregor wins this weekend, he will fight Charles Oliveira for the lightweight
You're
title.
not thinking like a
1,000%.
businessman. Charles has
What are you
zero.
talking about? We just discussed that Conor McGregor is still capable of doing 1.9 million
We're talking
pay-per-view buys.
about Charles as his dance partner, though.
Yeah, well, Charles Oliveira is basically Dustin Poirier as far as pay-per-views
Is
go.
he? Is he?
You think Conor McGregor wins this weekend, gets a shot at the lightweight title, and it doesn't do the same amount as it does here?
No, I'm just saying I think if he wins, they might make him versus Usman. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm telling you that makes no sense. No one has alluded to that.
Conor is going to want to get 3 belts. He's a belt collector, not a belt defender.
Dude, you're not paying attention to what anybody's saying. This fight was forced to be made at 155. If you read between the lines, I think Dustin Poirier even came out this week and said that.
You always love to do that. Have you been reading? Have you been looking at this? Have you been
we
reading
know
between the
only thing you
lines?
listen to is what
Fight
Ariel
geek,
Helwani
chill
has
out.
to say.
Yes,
So,
I can't stop listening to Ariel Helwani.
your idol. But no, let's.
Everyone knows that's a joke, right? Anyways, yeah, so moving on. You got another
Moving
one?
on. I don't.
Okay, this is from Eric Buckert. Buchert. Excuse me. Eric, I'm so sorry.
Didn't you say you'd never mess his name up again?
Honestly, I was just kind of mad at you right now. Sorry, Eric. Eric, you don't deserve this. Eric's like, what did I do? Okay, if Conor loses to Dustin, how big a hit to Conor's legacy do you think that will be? Also, does Wonder Boy get a title shot with a win over Burns, even if it's a lackluster performance? Hashtag AskSplitPod. Let me answer that second question first. If it's a lackluster performance, no, I don't think he's going to get the title shot. If he gets a flashy knockout, yes, I think he will.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And then I'll answer the first one. If Conor loses to Dustin, how big of a hit to Conor's legacy do you think that will be? You know, I don't think Conor's legacy from 2014 to 2016 can ever be affected. I think forever he will be a special fighter for that period of time. But I think it will be, kind of, time moves on, changing of eras, passing of the torch type deal. I think Conor's legacy as, the champ, the king is back, everything that he has been up to this point, I think will be kind of an afterthought, and he'll just kind of move into the second stage of his career, which will be a celebrity boxer, more or less, which I feel like that will eventually hurt his career or his legacy more than anything long term. If he turns into a celebrity boxer who's knocking out YouTubers and never defended a belt, I think that will hurt him big time long term when being compared to other contemporaries.
Yeah, I'd say very hard to disagree with that, frankly. Okay, so this last question, at least that I have, is from @Zoe yours truly. He says, "Love the show, guys. Are you ready to call Conor the greatest lightweight of all time if he wins? And if not, who does he have to beat to be the very best like no one ever was?" Oh, and then he says, hashtag AskSplitPod, by the way. I love it. I love that catch, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I appreciate that, too, but I don't think there's realistically any way Conor McGregor can become the greatest lightweight of all time.
Oh, come on. No way?
No, there's not. Well, he's never going to beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, is he? He will never beat him.
If he beats Dustin and then he sleeps Gaethje and then he sleeps a few more, he's going to be...
No, he's not. Because, A, he's never defended the title there, so he would have to beat Charles Oliveira, and then he would have to defend it at least 3 times.
We agree. Agreed.
Which is 5 victories in a row from here.
Agreed.
So he would have to beat Dustin Poirier, he would have to beat Charles Oliveira, then he would have to defend it 3 times, which, if he did that...
And there would still be a debate after that, because of Khabib.
Well, there would still be a debate because Khabib fought, defended, and finished Conor, Dustin, and Justin. So there's no way Conor McGregor is going to be more dominant than Khabib was. Khabib beat the best lightweights walking the planet like it was JV wrestling practice. So
Yep.
unless Conor goes in there and one-shots everybody like he did to Aldo 5 fights in a row, no, he will never be the lightweight GOAT. Never.
I unfortunately do have to agree with that. It's very hard to see him becoming the lightweight GOAT or even having an argument. But as Fight Geek said, if he wants in on the argument, he's got to win at least 5 lightweight fights in a row going forward. So, at least.
Yeah. And that's just to get in the discussion.
That's just to start it.
And at that point, he would still be, off the top of my head, 6-2 lifetime as a lightweight, which isn't very impressive considering, I believe, Dustin Poirier in the last 4 years is 11-2.
I believe he is as well. And if anyone thinks we're being harsh, by the way, it's just worth quickly noting that there are 4 different lightweights with 3 title defenses. Khabib, Frankie Edgar, Benson Henderson, and BJ Penn.
I'd say if anyone thinks we're being harsh, they probably failed math class.
That's also true.
It's not harsh. 3 is better than 0.
That's also very true. All right, so do we have any more questions, Fight Geek?
I think that's it for the week.
All right, with that, guys, before I hand it off to Fight Geek, real quick, if you're listening to us on Spotify, iTunes, or Stitcher, or YouTube, if you could really quickly hit that subscribe button. Come on, we know not every listener is subscribing. Just join us. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you could also give us a quick 5-star review. Boy, does it help. It really helps us. Thank you so much. I'm done begging. I will now hand it off to Fight Geek. Take us away, Fight Geek.
All right, as usual, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. I'm at the Fight Geek MMA. He's at Phil, the MMA dude. We are at Split_podcast. It's 4 words, the Split Decision Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Go Suns. Peace.
Peace.